Did Joe Biden set the stage for a nuclear war? As we discussed yesterday, Ukraine fired U.S.-made missiles deep into Russia's interior. Meanwhile, Russia recently updated its nuclear doctrine in an attempt to, quote, make conventional warfare unachievable. As Dmitry Medvedev, deputy of Russia's Federation Security Council, wrote on X, Russia's new nuclear doctrine means NATO missiles fired against our country could be deemed an attack by the bloc on Russia. Russia could retaliate with weapons of mass destruction against Kiev and the NATO facilities wherever they're located. That means World War III. Here to break it down for us is Dave Reaboi. He's a journalist and fellow at the Claremont Institute. So, Dave, we've heard a lot of talk about World War III over the years. So how likely is it that this is what we're facing down this time?
Honestly, I think it's very unlikely. We've got anytime you've got leaders talking about World War III this way, when, like, for example, in a tweet by Medvedev, this is for external consumption only. Yes, of course, I think the Biden administration, obviously not Joe Biden, but other people who are in his administration who are making the calls and doing the work, who are awake, have made a really big mistake here in the last in the little lame duck period. I don't think this is World War III. I don't think World War III is a conceivable thing as we think of it. But it's not good, and it's certainly more dangerous now than it was yesterday. The problem with all this, the problem with this whole conflict from the point of view of the Biden administration and really the whole West has been like, what is the goal here? What is the solution here if not some kind of settlement based on territorial compromise? Everyone has been avoiding that. There's been a lot of rhetoric about totalitarianism and about keeping Ukraine free and all this stuff. And it's fine as far as it goes. But at the end of the day, what is the end game? What is the likely end game? What's the desired end game? And what is the United States doing to get to that point in a realistic way? And so far, the Biden administration has been in la la land. They've been shoveling money out the door, and there's been a lot of ideological propaganda thrown out there about how terrible Russia is. And it's, fine, I agree, Russia's terrible. Okay, then what? And they don't have a plan. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing the Biden administration kind of give a green light to Ukraine, to Zelensky, for saying, okay, between now and the time that Trump comes into office, you grab what you can get. You put as much on the board as he possibly can. And of course, Russia is thinking the same thing. In the mad scramble to get your last couple of pieces on the board before Trump comes in, and then presumably they have to sit down and negotiate. It's my contention that everyone wants out of this, and that nobody has an interest in seeing this escalate even further. Certainly not for World War III. So, like, that Medvedev tweet is completely for people like us to see and to freak out about, and nothing more.
So let's put World War III aside, right, and just talk about what's going on. And drill into it a little bit more, because, okay, I can see from Russia's standpoint, we're going to threaten back, right? We want to take as much as possible. We know there's going to be a peace, but we're going to push as hard as we can. What's a little harder for me, and I think a lot of our audience to understand, is, like you're saying, what's the end game on our side? We do have a ratcheting up of some pretty serious things, right? The U.S. saying, we are going to send these missiles. That's going to be okay, right? We now, it's okay to send missiles into Russia. Russia's saying we've changed our nuclear policy. And then we have yesterday Joe Biden making another policy change to say it's okay. We approve sending anti-personnel mines to Ukraine. And Ukraine is saying, well, we'll only deploy those in Ukrainian territory and away from densely populated areas, right? I mean, okay, why is this? Why are we ratcheting this up when we know, right? In other words, from the U.S. standpoint, from whoever's in the State Department right now, what exactly are they trying to do? Because it's not really about winning, right, the war at this point. And people say it's something like handcuffing Trump or something like that. Explain exactly what the thought process is here, because I don't get it.
I have a simpler. I mean, of course, in theory, they would all love to handcuff Trump. They would all love to make this, a fait accompli for Trump. And what that would look like would be to, to get, to create such a problem that it would be harder to untangle than it is now. So, that may be what they're doing, and that's possible. But I think the far more likelier answer here is just that these people are stupid and mistaken. And Matt, our old friend, Angelo Codevilla, used to talk about one of the great problems in modern foreign policy thinking, which is speaking loudly and carrying a soft stick. Mm-hmm. So if you are, and you see this in every arena where a lot of these guys, the Biden guys, the Obama guys, they all operate, which is they define some goal, and it's a big goal. And then they say, okay, this is in our national interest, but we're too timid to really take the resources that we need to get there and to do the thing, because that would be too aggressive. So instead, they settle on huge rhetorical flourishes and grand pronouncements that they know they will never back up because A, they lack the guts to do it, and B, part of them at some base level they understand that, like, that it's not worth the trouble. So, for example, if the U.S. really believed that it was that hardcore of a national interest to expel Russia from Ukraine and to protect Ukraine, okay, send in troops. Like, if it's that important, do the thing. But they realize that it's not that important, and they know it. We know it. So their next best thing is they keep doing these ineffective, half measures.
Yeah. So Dave, let's cut to the heart of the matter
here. Not get us
here.
Anywhere near the goal.
When we have 60 days or so until Donald Trump assumes office, what do we need to look out for then?
I think we're going to need to look out for kind of more of this, more indulging in these guys' attempts to complicate things. I really don't think that it's in anyone's interest to completely go, to the next step, to go, certainly not to go nuclear, certainly not to get that far out ahead of the United States. I mean, for Ukraine to do that, let's say Ukraine goes and they start firing rockets into Moscow or doing some real significant damage with our missiles. I think that, again, in 60 days, Donald Trump is going to have a reckoning, and he's not going to like it, because it's going to put him in the situation where he's got to pull, he's got to pull Zelensky back, and they don't want that. So I think this is just honestly, I think this is just kind of making noise for making noise's sake. In the Middle East, you see kind of the exact opposite, which is what you've seen throughout the whole throughout the whole administration, which is they're saying to Ukraine, go, 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 but then they're saying to Israel, stop, stop, stop. So I don't think these guys have any idea what they're doing, and I just pray that in the next 60 days they don't make a bigger mess inadvertently, because that's what we're dealing with. I don't think they intend to bring us to the brink of nuclear war on their way out the door, knowing that just to sort of screw with Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that because I think they're good people or because they're not horrible people. I do think that, but. I don't think their imagination is in that place. And frankly, if they were pining for nuclear war, they would have, we would have been in one 3 years ago.